Interesting weekend as it relates to this percolating sense that the Falcons want to trade Julio Jones. Can they trade him is really the question that still lingers. It was 4 weeks ago today, the Monday of draft week, and it was no accident that three different reporters all had the same scoop at about the same time that the Falcons are looking to trade Julio Jones. They deliberately got it out there. They spread the word. They wanted going into the draft anyone looking for a receiver to know, if you don't get that guy you covet, we got somebody that you may be interested in if you simply want to take on a $15.3 million salary guaranteed for skill, injury, and cap in 2021. And they've made it clear that they want a second-round pick, the same round they got a pick for when they gave Mohamed Sanu to the Patriots in 2019. But it's all about unloading that salary and creating cap space as of June 2 when they can reduce the acceleration that otherwise would hit the cap. They can't do it pre-June 1. They can do it as of June 2. We're just a week away from that happening. But a deal can be tentatively agreed to between now and then. Chris, I still have yet to hear anything, see anything, read anything, divine anything that would suggest there's a trade partner out there.
Okay, good.
For Julio Jones.
Good.
Have you?
I'm glad to hear you say that. I'm not going to lie. Like, I was a little stressed this morning driving into the office going, like, I don't really have any feel for anybody that's really interested in him right now. I don't. Not, like, legitimately. I really was. I was a little – so I'm glad to hear you say that you haven't really heard anything solid along those lines either. I haven't as well. And, you know, that's where I'm fascinated by this whole topic with Julio Jones, just because, you know, there's a lot of moving parts to it. You know, he is the ultimate boom or bust, I think, type of trade, asset, player, whatever. Yeah, I do think that, you know, he's still got some mileage left. And we see last year there was a few games where he looked special and all of those type of things. But, Mike, you and I both know, we've talked about this a lot throughout the years. I mean, Julio Jones is a little dangerous, too, at this point of his career. It has been a lot of wear and tear. And you and I both know that he doesn't practice much. It's load management to the finest as far as NFL wide receivers are concerned. And not that he's like, oh, I'm just taking it off, but I think he's got issues he's managing within his body to be able to play every Sunday like we talked about a little last week. So that's where, good player, a lot of money. Team he's on right now doesn't really need him anymore. You know, who out there is going to be really desperate for a guy with all of those type of things? It's going to take a special type of investigation to feel comfortable with the player there. That's where it's going to be interesting to see what Atlanta can get for it.
Well, the folks at PointsBet know something. They know enough to set odds for the next destination of Julio Jones. And look what team's at the very top. The San Francisco 49ers at plus 450. Colts and the Chargers not far behind at plus 475. Do you think that the 49ers would make a move? I know that it's easy to connect dots. Kyle Shanahan in Atlanta, the year that the Falcons almost won a Super Bowl and Julio Jones was still smack dab in the middle of his prime, but that was 5 years ago.
Exactly.
Would Julio Jones of today make a difference for a 49ers offense that, you know, beyond the quarterback question,
it's really good.
Fairly loaded.
Yeah, it's loaded, right. You know, loaded, Mike, and I was surprised to see this. And again, I have no inside information here. I don't know what the 49ers, maybe they do like Julio Jones. I don't know. I really have no clue. I was shocked.
I think Philip may know since Philip has your phone.
He might. Maybe he's been texting Kyle. Maybe he knows. Maybe he let him know. Maybe that's where I didn't figure out it was Trey Lance. Maybe Philip knew all along, and that's where you go. But, like, I was surprised to see the 49ers on the top of that list. You know, for like you said, it's a talented offense. They got two young receivers that I would be, if I'm Kyle Shanahan, I'm reluctant to take off the field. I mean, it's a top of the second round Deebo Samuel wide receiver who's very talented. Brandon Ayuk, first round wide receiver. You know, and the 49ers are a team, Mike, too, that they're not a big three wide receiver on the field type of offense. Shanahan likes his tight end and his fullback and to be in that 21 personnel that we talk about so much. So that's where I was shocked to see that, is what I'm saying. I didn't think that made sense, and I don't see that happening with the 49ers.
And again, there's been nothing linking Julio Jones to anyone. And if the Falcons were getting any calls from any team, I guarantee you it would make its way out into the media some way, somehow. Except for one team, because Bill Belichick has managed to convince anyone and everyone that if anything ever comes out about any discussions that we've had with you about any of our players or your players or anything that possibly could be transacted, we pull the plug immediately, and we mean it. That's why agents don't talk, teams don't talk. You never know what Bill Belichick's up to. However, there was a report from Mike Giardi of NFL Media over the weekend. The Patriots have had internal discussions about Jones. Giardi followed it up with, I don't know how serious they were. Well, I mean, all due respect, why wouldn't they have internal discussions? If we don't, I mean, at a minimum, you're gonna at some point, you're drinking a cup of coffee and eating a donut. Hey, Julio Jones, they're really trying to move him. Yeah, what do you think? Well, next. I mean, that's internal discussions. It could be they brought it up and shot it down. Or it could be all the way up to they're plotting to make a move as of June 2 to go try to get him.
Well, anytime I hear like the Patriots, when I have a player that, yes, is rumored to be on the market and all those things, and then you don't hear about teams substantially in the argument, and all of a sudden the Patriots come out of nowhere, I won't lie, and I'm not disputing reporting or anything like that, but I always think, oh, that might be propaganda because, that's the move right in the recent NFL. Tell the world that the Patriots are interested in my player, and now they think that, the other 31 teams are like, oh, the Patriots are in. Bill's on it. He knows something we don't. We better get interested, right? I mean, for New England, I'd be like, no, you don't need Julio Jones either. You have a ton of offense, and these are the guys that have blown up in their face. I mean, a.k.a. Mohamed Sanu or Chad Ochocinco, aging veterans where Belichick might have had like an affinity. Am I saying that right? At one point,
good.
But now he's old and it's dangerous and he's breaking down. And that to me is like this would be the ultimate like New England. Ooh, I don't know if this is going to work type move. So I don't know if I buy that.
Randy Moss was 30 his first year with the Patriots.
30. Yeah,
just saying.
That worked. I know, but that worked.
And it was perceived. It was perceived that he was washed up at 30. That now to a trained eye, it's just Randy Moss didn't care. His second year with the Raiders, it was a waste of his time.
Exactly.
He wasn't trying.
Right.
He shut it down.
Right.
And the Patriots secretly. I don't know how secret it was. I remember Al Davis suggesting there was some sort of collusion between Mike Lombardi and Bill Belichick, but they knew he could still run. They did the deal for a fourth-round pick, and it worked out. Now, the Patriots are the ones who gave up the second-round pick for Mohamed Sanu, so maybe the Falcons think they are the ones that maybe will overpay for this guy. But the key is going to be the salary. What's the salary, right? How much are you going to take on and how much will the Falcons pay? The Falcons are not going to get off the hook paying zero. They're going to have to pay some of it, especially if they want a second-round pick. How much are they going to have to pay to make it work? And here's the other side of it, too. Thomas Dimitroff, who was the GM of the Falcons, can now tell Bill exactly what's up with Julio Jones.
That's true.
Everything that Julio Jones has done physically, all the stuff that went on 3 years ago when Julio Jones was going to hold out and insisted on getting a contract that made him the highest-paid receiver in football, that contract that's weighing the Falcons' cap down now. Dimitroff can now be completely and totally transparent. And, if Belichick makes a move, then that means there's still plenty of gas in the tank and there's reason to think that it's a worthwhile trade. If the Patriots don't make the move, then, at a minimum, he's going to talk to Dimitroff because Dimitroff has no reason to not talk to Belichick at this point. He's not in the trust tree anymore with the Falcons, but he sure knows a lot from the time that he was.
No, I know, yes. And, again, Julio Jones, could he help out the New England Patriots? Sure. But to the way that we would envision it, and him being like a big 1,500-yard type receiver and being a staple in the offense, I just don't see that happening with the way the Patriots are built right now. And Cam Newton at quarterback and everything like that. And you got a quarterback that's going to take over, in the future in Mac Jones. And what are you going to do? Trade away future assets to hinder his ability to develop and all those things? What, for 1-2 years maybe with Julio Jones, that's where it doesn't make sense. To me, it's going to be a special team who really feels like, hey, we're truly maybe a one guy away, or we're desperate at this position or something like that. That type of player. What, you think New England is that? What are you saying?
No.
What?
You're leading me down a path
I
that
know.
I went down on Friday with Shereen Williams when you were in your hammock,
right,
with your mismatched legs and neck tan. The Green Bay Packers.
Yes, no doubt. That's a team that certainly jumps out to you when you kind of lay it out there, where you go, wait, everything's kind of good. They got a lot of things to like on the roster. As we've seen, they missed like an explosive element of their offense. He could maybe bring that. That is. But again, I think it's the big thing too, is like these teams are going to have to do some, I don't want to say collusion, or their investigations into the status of Julio Jones' body. That is going to be the big thing to me. Almost like that's always the rumors I heard, exactly what you're talking about with the Raiders and the Patriots and the Randy Moss thing. I mean, the rumor in the NFL was that the Patriots followed him for a period of time when he was in Miami and had people watching him work out to know that he was actually healthy and those type of things. So that's the kind of info you got to dig up on Julio, because, yeah, you don't want to trade away, low round picks high round picks and give substantial money to a guy who all of a sudden might be on the field 8-9 games this year. That's where it's scary, Mike. And here's like another thing, Mike, too, like that it's if you're Atlanta, you can't just trade Julio Jones away for a 2. Can you? Like, you can't just do a 2.
Yes, that's what they want. They want a 2.
They don't want anything more than that. They're going to just settle with a 2. To me, that's not necessarily the best look either. I mean, the fact that they got Mohamed Sanu away for a 2, and now you're going to give Julio Jones away, that's just
right.
Yeah.
But you're only getting a 2 because they're taking $15.3 million off your books.
Yes.
And I don't know that they get both. I don't know that you can pull that off.
No, you're right.
I think to get the 2, you got to pay $5 million, maybe. I don't know. And if you're only going to pay $1 million or $2 million or nothing, you're going to get a lot less than a 2. They go hand in hand.
Yeah, definitely.
But the Packers, to me, are fascinating because if the front office truly wants to rebuild the obliterated bridge with Aaron Rodgers, if you really want to work something out, you go to Aaron Rodgers with a spreadsheet, with some sort of a document, with something to show him, here's the contract that we propose for you. Here's how you're going to create some cap space through it, but it's also going to tie us to you and you to us for multiple years. Oh, we're going to put a no trade clause in there as well. You're going to have a lot of money. There's going to be guarantee. It's going to be a big cap number next year. We can't just walk away. We can't rip it up. We can't trade you. You will be our guy.
Right.
And with the cap money that we create this year, along with restructuring, let's say, Devontae Adams' contract, because he's one of the guys with an 8-figure salary that could create some cap space for the Packers, we're going to go get Julio Jones. So you're going to have Devontae Adams. You're going to have Julio Jones. Let's go. Let's do this. And I don't know that would fix things at this point, but if the Packers really wanted to try to fix it, that would seem like the kind of gesture that Aaron Rodgers would at least pay some attention to.
I would agree with that. Yeah, you could really maybe kill what is it? One bird with 2 stones, 2 birds with 1 stone.
We got it. No, it's too late. You took your hand off. You took your hand off.
Yep, I got it wrong. You're right. It's Monday morning and I'm foggy. So yes. But, yeah, you could do both there. Like, improve your team, make it explosive, maybe have a guy make a play in an NFC championship game other than Aaron Rodgers having to be perfect and dissect everything and every perfect throw and every perfect decision. Like, it's not against the rules for one of those guys to break a tackle and run for 50 yards like the other teams do against them. I mean, it's not. So, yeah, you could do that and help your team out, and also, like you're saying, kill that other bird. Because, hey, here's a guy for you, Aaron Rodgers. We're still trying to support you. I mean, agreed. Mike, it's the first team that came to my mind, too. You know that. I mean, come on. That's my guy up there. I'd like to see some weapons around him.
Yeah, I don't know that the Packers really care at this point. The Packers, as far as I can tell, continue to be in that posture of play for us or play for no one. By the way, OTAs start today. I doubt that Aaron Rodgers will be there. He's got a $500,000 workout bonus this year. They worked out something with the Packers players where they could put in their time, phase 1 and phase 2 on their own. They didn't have to be there to get credit toward their workout bonus, but they got to be there for phase 3 to get credit toward the workout bonus. And it's usually a high percentage, like 90% or more that you have to participate in to earn that bonus. So Aaron Rodgers is either going to be there this week or he isn't. And I don't think it's going to be a big story one way or the other because I don't expect him to be there. The mandatory minicamp is what's going to matter. And Rodgers is on ESPN tonight, Kenny Mayne's last show. We'll see. We'll see what Rodgers delves into. How can you have him on and not get into?
Yeah, I would think
stuff.
so.
So maybe we'll find something out tonight. DeAndre Hopkins at one point in the past few days tweeted that he would restructure his contract for Julio Jones, and then he deleted it. And maybe he deleted it because someone said to him, there's really nothing you can do.
Exactly.
Your salary's $4.75 million. It's not like it's going to create that much cap space. They have other guys on the team like a Chandler Jones where they could do – and even though Jones is in the last year of his contract, you can take that salary, add some dummy years, turn it into a signing bonus, create some cap space that way. And they're pressed up against the cap, as are the Packers. They'd have to create some cap space, but there's not much DeAndre Hopkins can do. And the other side of it, too, I think at some point, and who knows why he deleted it, but you got other teammates. You got Christian
that's
Kirk,
what
you got
it is to
A.J.
me.
Green.
Exactly.
You got Rondale Moore.
Right.
It's like, those guys are going to be like, what the hell? Who are we?
That's it. I would, Mike, I think that's spot on. That's what kind of jumped out to me throughout the whole thing. It was like he came to the realization, like, damn, we got a lot of good receivers. Like, I'm kind of being disrespectful here by adding this guy into the group here, and we got some guys that I would bet you some of the people and someone in the organization maybe even reached out to him to like, hey, we're excited about this group we got. We're good. Like, AJ's here. He's already filled that role that Julio would do. So we don't need another guy to be like that. I mean, what? 2 like risky veteran type receivers? Why? So they can both be like riding bikes on the sidelines, and that doesn't make sense to me there. I will say this with Arizona. I mean, on the fact of Julio and teams that at least make sense a little to me to a degree is Arthur Smith's old team, like with the Tennessee Titans. I know Derrick Henry put something on social media, and that was one when he said it, or it just popped into my brain where I was like, they have a need. They definitely do. He would fit it across the field from A.J. Brown. They're going to run the ball, play action pass, let him work down the field, do those type of things. And with no Corey Davis or anybody like that, there is no real big-time number 2 there or, number 2 in Tennessee right now. So that would make sense.
Derrick Henry's tweet, Titan TF up. That's all. It doesn't take a genius to figure out what he's really saying there, but he wants Julio Jones, and there was a video of the two of them working out as well. Not that means anything. People are like, oh, look at this, googly eye emoji. Julio Jones and Derrick Henry working out. So what? Derrick Henry's not the GM of the team. It means nothing.
Yeah. 2
guys on the same team are working out together. You know what it means? It means it's late May and there isn't much else to talk about, and I got no problem with that. I understand the business side of it, but it means nothing until the Titans look around the issue and consider doing it. And, hey, that is a spot where he could make a difference.
I agree.
If he can make it work from a cap standpoint, he could make a difference for that Titans team.
Yeah, I do think so. Yes, it's an offense that fits the player he is. And I think you play action pass, you let him work downfield. He can run post corners and deep outs and posts and go routes and all those type of things. Tannehill's a great down the field one-on-one type thrower. Him and A.J. Brown, they're both physical specimens. You wouldn't be able to really pin either guy to like one specific part of the offense. They could both go over the middle and be physical. They could both beat you deep, do those type of things. That made sense, Mike. And honestly, another team in the AFC South, the Indianapolis Colts, is the other team to me that makes a lot of sense just from the fact of they're in the Super Bowl. One of the things that's hurt them a little the last few years, Paris Campbell being hurt, T.Y. Hilton a little older and banged up and things like that. Maybe this just gives you a body insurance, another weapon just in case some of those guys do get banged up during the year, that you got a tip-top offense around Carson Wentz. I mean, they're a team that's right now, got everything you need, maybe just looking for a little cream on the top there to just make it a little bit better.
If this is about dumping salary primarily, then the Falcons, I think, will take whatever they can get as of June 2 or beyond and wipe that money off the books and have that cash and cap space to spend on other players. If this is about maximizing draft capital, Chris, their only option may be keep Julio Jones around, wait for the season to flesh itself out, let other teams see he's still got it.
Right.
And then if the Falcons aren't contending by the time the trade deadline rolls around, then maybe one of these other teams out there feeling like he's the missing piece will overpay like the Patriots did for Mohamed Sanu, like the 49ers did for Emmanuel Sanders when they gave up a third-round pick, and say, okay, fine, he's healthy, he's having a good year, the Falcons are struggling. Now, if he's healthy and having a good year, maybe the Falcons won't be struggling and they won't want to give him up. But they may have to play this out, and they may have to get into the season if this is about getting the highest possible draft pick. But if this is about just getting rid of $15.3 million, then bye-bye next week and make us an offer. What are you going to offer us? Third-round pick, fourth-round pick, fifth-round pick, whatever, as long as you're taking the $15.3 off our books, because that money is guaranteed for skill, injury, and cap. They can't just cut him.
Right. Yeah, it's, 100%. You're right. They would maximize their leverage there. Yeah, there's risk, of course. Yeah, like you said, like if he got banged up maybe or pulled a hamstring, when the trade, deadline is around and now he can't be traded, or maybe that, those teams we talk about just don't have that injury. But you're right. I think that would be their best chance to maximize. And I do think the question of like that you bring up, whether it's about, is it about the money and just getting it out of here, or is it, do we want to collect assets? Are we really trying to do that, AKA more like the Miami Dolphins the last few years to set up their team? If that's the case, I don't know. I mean, Arthur Blank, I don't think he's hurting in the cash department.
No, it's cap. It's cap.
It's cap. But either way, I mean, the more they can swallow, the more they might be able to get. Maybe you can get more than just a second rounder this type of the year if you can kind of find a way to take on the burden more than you'd expect.
If they're coming to the conclusion that Matt Ryan's going to be the guy for the next few years, they need that cap space, even if only to carry it over for next year when Matt Ryan's cap number is $44 million.
Right.
So I think it's about the cap space. Yeah. And I personally think that if they didn't have the guaranteed salary, they would just cut him if they can't find a trade partner. Now, from Julio Jones' perspective, last point on this, don't let yourself become Juwan James. Show up. Be there for the OTAs, because that would be, if the Falcons really are just looking to dump cap space, he suffers a serious injury away from the facility, hey, your salary's only guaranteed for skill, injury that happens at work, and salary cap. Injury that doesn't happen at work, you're not guaranteed for that. We're going to cut you, just like the Broncos did with Juwan James. He's at risk of that. He needs to be in the building to avoid that potential outcome and make sure that $15.3 million remains fully guaranteed.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.